Hi, Shweta.
Hey, hi Subiksha, good evening.
Evening.
Hey, Farah. Hey, Subiksha. Good
Hey,
evening.
Rahul.
Hey Rahul, good evening.
Hello, Ayman.
Hey, hi everyone.
Hey, hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Kunal.
Good evening.
Hey everyone. I think we'll wait for another minute and then we can get started. Alright, I think we can begin. Okay. Hey everyone. Welcome to this Dissect design session. So, today basically we'll be breaking down the UX evolution of Instagram and we'll be looking at how it started, how it changed, and why those changes basically matter. Instagram, as we all know, isn't just a photo sharing application anymore. It's one of the most influential social platforms ever built. And we'll see what makes it so successful going forward. So, we'll dive into Instagram's major design shifts over the years. We'll be looking at the successes and the failures of its UX experiments. And we'll also be talking about how Instagram keeps adapting to user behavior all the time. Through this timeline of features, we'll basically analyze the why behind the design choices that Instagram made and what we can learn from them. So, yeah, let's begin. So starting from the beginning, Instagram wasn't always this polished application that we see. So it started back in 2009 as a web application called Bourbon, which was designed for checking in at locations and sharing plans, and sharing photos was just a part of one of its features. So there was a lot happening around it. There were a lot of features. It was very cluttered, and hence it made it very, very difficult to use. So the team did something very user centered. They stripped it down to just photo sharing, removed all the other features, and that's when Instagram as we know was born. So on the launch day itself in 2010, it got 25,000 users in just 24 hours. So you can imagine the popularity of a photo sharing application at that time. And by 2012, Facebook, like Instagram, had already gained a lot of popularity, and Facebook acquired it for $1 billion, setting the stage for some of the major design shifts that went ahead. So yeah, before we move into the features, let's talk about the Instagram's biggest visual makeover, which was termed the 2016 redesign. So earlier, Instagram had this dark blue and a gray theme. So like the content wasn't, or the photo wasn't highlighted much. It looked very heavy and there was a lot of cognitive load. So in 2016, Instagram switched to a clean and white aesthetic. Now, why they did this? So first was to let the content stand out. So because all of it was white now, photos basically became the hero of the screen. The other part was to simplify navigation. So now they created a more intuitive experience in terms of navigation. And they also adapted to clearer icons, flat icons, which was in trends, and they also made interactions seamless, and also brought in better contrast. So yeah, all in all, this wasn't just a color change, but it was a UX shift towards a content first approach that basically Instagram is all about today. Yep. So now let's take a look at some of the features that were game changing UX for Instagram. So we, like, probably this is one of the smallest feature, but it probably was the most impactful UX change that Instagram brought in. So this is hashtags. So basically, before 2013, if you wanted to find some photos or any cool content, you would have to already follow the right people. But once hashtags were introduced, you could discover content based on topics and not just users. So from a UX standpoint, hashtags basically they improved searchability. So users could find relevant content very, very easily, and this also encouraged engagement. So there was this study that proved that hashtag posts got 12.6% more interaction than posts without hashtags. And hashtags also help build communities, so people could connect over shared interests. So there were a lot of common hashtags like throwback Thursday, foodie goals, and a lot more. So yeah, this very small feature, just a hashtag, made Instagram more than just a photo sharing application, and it became a platform for trends and conversations. Another leap was when Instagram launched stories. So when Instagram first launched stories in 2016, people were not happy at all. So there was a lot of backlashing stating that this was a blatant copy of Snapchat. So the stories was also adapting to this 24-hour content thing. There were also a lot of memes around how every application was adapting to this story trend at that point. And despite all of this initial feedback, by 2022, Instagram was making more ad revenue from stories than the main feed itself. So, how did this happen? So, it was just one simple reason, because Instagram knew that users love quick and temporary content, and so Instagram made their entire design decision around this user behavior. So, stories basically introduced a very lightweight and low pressure way to share. So, there was no overthinking, no perfect curation, and all the design choices they made at that point was very, very intentional. So, for example, they introduced this swipe gesture instead of button. So, like if you apply filters on Instagram stories, you don't have the filters listed out, you just swipe through to change the filters. So, that was meant to build muscle memory and also to enhance quicker postings. The other thing was limited filters and fonts. So that the users wouldn't spend too much time on edits. Again, it was not about perfection in case of stories. Another big thing that stories did was to capitalize on the 7-second average attention span rule, which is a study states that human spends around 7 second like adapting to any visual content. So Instagram understood that people process visual content faster than text, so they designed an experience that's quick, engaging, and also easy to consume. So like scrolling, tapping, all of this basically happens within seconds. So short form content, like it drives higher engagement and also keeps users hooked. So like ads were introduced in between the stories, so this way in a very short span people could also grasp ads and know about brands as well. So another big thing Instagram did was that a year later, after the introduction of stories, they realized that not all stories should disappear after 24 hours. So that's when story highlights came in. This was basically a means to let users save key moments on their profile. So this was a great UX decision because it gave users more control over their content, and it also helped businesses showcase their brand beyond just the temporary posts. So it was a simple change, but it transformed how people used Instagram for personal and a business branding altogether. Now, probably the biggest leap there was in 2020, Instagram introduced Reels, which was a clear response to TikTok's success. So, at first, again, users resisted a lot because they already had an app for sharing video content in first place, and they did not want their traditional photo posting platform to just turn into another video platform. But again, as of 2025, Reels generate over 200 billion plays daily. So, what iterative UX improvements basically made this happen? Again, Instagram made some very clear decisions. So when Reels started, Reels were integrated within the feed itself, but then they very quickly switched to a separate feed which was introduced to which meant that a dedicated space for Reels was there, so it meant easier discovery. Reels also brought in a very simplified editing interface. So making content and editing it became very fast, very easy. So this way, a lot of content was being created. The other feature that they introduced was the remix feature. So it was basically meant to encourage collaboration and engagement. So they regularly kept updating their editing suite, their creative tools and templates. And with all of this, Reels even today they are constantly changing based on user feedback and figuring out basically what works for them and what not. uh, yep. So another introduction by Instagram was Instagram for business, because obviously Instagram wasn't just photos anymore. It is a hub for a lot of brands and businesses. So with a business account, basically it has features that we don't usually see on a normal Instagram profile. So brands can get insights into who's engaging, when they are active, what's working, what's not working. So yeah, they have many features, and some like shoppable posts and promotions. They basically help businesses to turn even the casual scrollers into actual customers very easily. And very clearly, for Instagram for business, the UX was built for growth, and that's why Instagram is such a powerhouse for brands today. Uh, so yeah, these were some of the key features that were great moves taken by Instagram, and they totally changed the experience for the users all over. But yeah, not every design change was a success. So Instagram ran some very bold experiments, but not really all of them worked out. So, for example, in 2018, they introduced this horizontal scrolling feed where users would have to swipe left and right to view posts, very similar to stories. So, they wanted to create an experience just like a physical photo album. But again, this was a huge disruption to the way people interact with mobile scrolling, which is the vertical scrolling for larger contents. So people found it very inconvenient, and they gave the feedback that the navigation was had become very less intuitive. So this feedback was taken very seriously by Instagram. And while this feature was tested for a very short duration, it was quickly stripped and it was quickly reverted to the traditional vertical scrolling feed. There was so much backlashing on this particular experiment that Instagram had to formally apologize for this disruption as well. Uh, then the next one was removal of likes. So in 2019, Instagram basically tested hiding the like count. So earlier people could see the number of counts and the number of shares on a post, but then there was a feedback that this was creating a lot of pressure in terms of social presence, and it was creating a lot of anxiety in a lot of people. So Instagram altogether removed this like count from posts. While a lot of users appreciated this, but influencers and the businesses and marketing people, they basically thrive on engagement metrics, so they felt really harmed with this. So again, Instagram introduced an option allowing users to choose whether they could hide or display the like count. So this way the application became a little more inclusive, and it was now addressing diverse preferences. The other thing was the suggested posts in feed. So in 2020, what Instagram did was that it introduced this suggested posts feature. So when people would complete scrolling down to the end of their feed from the people they were following, they could see posts from people they did not follow, but in line with the content they liked. So earlier this was the plan at the inception, but eventually this got integrated with the feed, and suggested posts started coming in between the chronological order of the content, which again was a huge disruption, and it wasn't something that was liked by many. So, Instagram again took this feedback into consideration and added an option to disable suggested posts. So, again, it became an optional feature for the user, giving the users more control over their feed. Another thing was the Reels tab placement. So when Instagram introduced Reels, what they did was they introduced this Reels tab at the center of the bottom nav bar. But then there was a lot of user feedback that it felt that Reels were now being prioritized over traditional posts, and this was disrupting their experience. So Instagram quickly took this feedback into consideration, and they replaced the Reels tab back to the plus new post. And again, on clicking of that, users could choose what they want to post. It could be a story, it could be a post, it could even be a reel in that case. So yeah, even with these failed experiments, the takeaway that Instagram gave us here was that obviously listening to users and iterating is what makes a great product. So yeah, now let's take a look at what makes Instagram's UX work so well. So for starters, it was one of the first social platforms which was designed for mobile first approach, which made it very, very easy to use on a smartphone. So the camera integration became seamless. They also introduced this algorithmic feed personalization. So that basically personalizes content based on your preferences or what you like. It also gives users just the right amount of control, so you can curate your experience basis your preferences. Plus Instagram really leans into this visual storytelling, making it easy to scroll and consume content very quickly. And the best part is that it keeps evolving. So Instagram constantly experiments, listens to the user feedback, and like it is not afraid to remove features that don't work. For example, it stripped the IGTV or the following activity list over time. So yeah, Instagram isn't just adding features; it's adapting to user behavior in real time. So, in conclusion, Instagram's journey has shown us a few key things about UX. One, listening to users always matters. So, some features obviously fail, but quick responses is what keep users engaged. The other thing is that simplicity always wins. So, the best design is the one that feels effortless. And third, obviously, experimentation is the key. Even the biggest platforms, huge giants like Instagram, they need trial and error to evolve. So yeah, that's the key takeaway from the session. So next time you're scrolling, posting, or you're on Instagram, you might notice some of the whys of what UX thought went into making Instagram feel this easy. And the at the pace Instagram is making changes, maybe in the next few sessions of Dissect Design itself, we'll be dissecting a whole new Instagram. So yeah, that's all for today. Like now, I mean, I know all of us use Instagram, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. What Instagram features do you like, or what is something that you find frustrating on Instagram, or you would want to change?
That horizontal scroll was a shocker. I was when you were telling about that. I thought, when did this happen? I missed this. So did everyone experience that, or?
No, it was for a very selected group, Sujay. So basically, the Instagram's head first came and told that it was a little experiment, but then Instagram, there was this official statement telling that it was a bug. So it was for a very short time, and for a very limited set of people.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
had noticed that interaction on Instagram.
So Kunal, you're using too much Instagram.
Yeah, I realized after I said that. But yeah, I think that was the time also. I think COVID was hitting, so I think I will not take the blame completely there. Any other thoughts? Eamon, you had something?
I was saying that it's interesting when certain decisions, for example, like suggestion section. One thing Sweta was showing that suggestion sections also they had to again um, rethink on that, and come back to a different design.
Hmm.
With such apps, especially, it becomes a challenge as to how what role can suggestions play there. For certain apps, suggestions really suit, but for such Instagram apps, I mean, we don't want our reels to be as suggested, because for such apps we want random reels to come up, so that we know what we are actually interested in later on. So that becomes our so I like it depends on different kinds of users also. I like that Instagram surprises me with different content, and then I keep on selecting my content, and then my algorithm works around that way. But that makes sense why they have to do
Right.
that.
Yeah. I
Right.
think that's
And
why they,
go ahead, Shweta.
yeah, they also have this interested and not interested thing. So if you're not
Yeah,
interested in any particular content, then you can. So
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the contingency plan I think they came up with. I think initially Instagram was just showing you what like people you have followed probably. I think later on it started evolving and showing things. So I was just wondering that there are certain accounts where if you are not following anyone, like you're not following any person or anything, what kind of content will Instagram show? So I think that thought process was what Eamon was mentioning would have come from there, that how do we keep the users engaged at the zero state level as well?
yeah. So at now, currently it is so flexible that if you want to go in and have your suggestions filtered with a particular niche, that
Mm-hmm.
also you can do by categorizing your reels, and do that in that way also. And then if you have a free flow this thing approach also, where you can randomly just keep on scrolling and
Correct.
randomly reels come in. But if you want to also go down and drill down to a particular niche, that also is possible. So it's good, flexible.
Yes, Subiksha.
So Instagram also has this business side, right? There are so many business accounts. But one thing here is that mostly I feel it's just like a platform to market your business. But mostly the other things are carried outside Instagram. So maybe if Instagram has a feature where they can incorporate the business dealings within the application itself, like maybe they could have a payment platform, like WhatsApp is having a payment platform right now, right? So maybe Instagram could also have that. That might increase credibility of Instagram because, in some cases, we don't know the legibility, the credibility of the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's a good point, but I think at the same time there is the traction on WhatsApp Pay and all is also pretty less. Like how many of us use WhatsApp Pay? I don't use WhatsApp Pay.
I think I'll use when someone sends me QR code. We'll have a direct option, right, to pay
Yeah, yeah.
from.
Even I use that. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
simple and straightforward.
Mhm.
So because on WhatsApp we share screenshot, right? It becomes easy for us. You use that same code and then pay.
Right. No, but the trust factor, I think initially when it had
Ah,
come,
that is there.
there
Yes,
was a
yes.
lot of trust issues, right? So I think the
Yes,
adoption rate
yes.
there was pretty low. And I think I just observed it today or this week itself that they started, giving notification. I mean, like a banner kind of a thing when you open WhatsApp to for you to activate WhatsApp Pay, basically, like set up your UPI ID here, etc., something like that. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
they are pushing for it now again, I guess.
I think one of the Instagram feature which I couldn't understand is the notes part. I'm not sure why they have that feature also.
Notes?
Yeah, I think if you go to the chat section, you'll have your notes, something like that, right? Where people write their notes and
Yeah.
you get,
Okay.
yeah, that
Yeah, yeah.
feature. I think it is pointless. I didn't understand the actual use of that.
I think that if you remember, WhatsApp also had this status, right? Not the status that we have now. Like earlier, you used to have this text statuses that in a meeting or at the gym, they had
Right.
like defined statuses. So I think
Yeah.
that the overflow of this on Instagram, like what's on your mind types.
Okay. Okay.
And I think could be from, a ripoff of Facebook's also write something on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is from there also. But yeah, that's totally pointless. I don't know how many users even use that.
Yeah. I felt somehow same thing you can do with the stories also.
Yeah, exactly. I think people are doing that in the stories only. They don't want to type, they want to take photos and post.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
Okay,
good.
if I'm creating something, I just wanted to know on Instagram if you're creating something. For example, I'm a blogger. I created a food blogger section or 4 5 sections there in Instagram. Has that in any way got to do with the reels that we receive? I mean, is there any connection like that? Like, for example, I'm setting up a food blog section. Will
Mhm.
I receive food blogs reels? Is that connection there within Instagram?
No, I think, but the connection is from WhatsApp. I feel whatever we think about it, ask our friends. Let's say I wanted some travel bag, and I texted in the WhatsApp. Next time when I open Instagram, I see all the ads related to backpacks and luggages. And
Hmm.
That is not only text, I think the phone is also listening to you. Like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Facebook and Instagram, they have this feature, I think, no, the wherein you can keep the audio on, the audio
Yeah, yeah.
settings privacy on,
Mhm.
and it will keep listening to you. So any
Yeah, there are.
keywords that you talk, yeah. Sometimes when you talk on over a normal regular call as well, you start seeing those ads over there.
People are giving videos on this. Go in the settings and switch off that to be safe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There are memes also related to it. So if
Yeah,
you want someone to buy something for you, just tell that word in front of their phone, and they'll start seeing only those ads.
Kunal GP 2000.
That you add, we will not see no man. You have to tell you have to tell a particular item's name. GPay 2000, you will not see on Instagram.
We'll see
Random.
GPay's ad then.
Eman, gift me an Apple Watch. Come on. Apple Watch, Apple Watch.
My settings are off.
Mine are on. I think it'll start showing me only. So anyone else, any good experience, bad experiences on Instagram, any connection that you draw?
Hmm.
Yes, nobody uses Instagram here.
Somebody's actually talking to the phone and just testing that.
Sorry.
Somebody's actually talking to the phone and testing that. Harish Durgam, that's why he's mute.
Maybe he's testing in someone else's phone. Okay, I think we are about time also. Shweta, anything else to discuss?
No, Kunal, I'm good. Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. See you next time in the next Dissect Design session with all new app. So, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you
Take
everyone.
care.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining. Bye bye. Great session, Shweta. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Shweta.
you. Bye
Great.
bye.